As a Grammy Award-winning producer and songwriter, our first guest has crafted multi-platinum hits for everyone, from Destiny's Child to Will Smith. And now, after years behind the curtain, he's finally letting his own voice take center stage.
Here to talk about his new musical project, Karaoke, his illustrious career in the record business, and discovering Lady Gaga. He's a bad mamma jamma. I'm talking about Rob Fusari, a.k.a. how do you say it?
8-bit.
8-bit.
Gotta get a little flair to it, right?
Welcome to 360. So good to meet you.
You too. Thanks for having
Okay,
me.
so you have to tell us, you're the man behind some of the biggest songs in the last 20 years. I mean, No, 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 Bootylicious, Wild Wild West, Paparazzi. But now you're taking center stage for yourself. How did you make that transition from being the super producer Rob to 8-bit?
It all started, I think, after I finished working on the Gaga project. I looked to maybe do it again, and the success was so massive. It kind of put me in a strange place in my career. I honestly didn't know how to top it. I wanted to continue to develop artists, and there were so many artists that were coming to me, interested in my development with Gaga, thinking that they were the next Gaga. And I just didn't come across anything great. And this went on for several years. And finally, I just said to myself, you know what? I'm losing my sense of the music, of who I am, and what I'm supposed to be doing at this point in my musical journey. So I just decided to write a song one day and actually just put my voice on it, because I couldn't imagine anyone else singing it. It just didn't make sense. Like I knew I wouldn't sell it, or it was going to be for a movie or what have you. So I decided to record the vocal, and just something happened. It was like the skies parted, like just everything just became clear in that moment when I recorded the vocal that day, that I should be doing this now. Like I need to take everything that I've learned, all my experience, and put it now into myself.
Well, so describe that sound, because I would imagine that it is a bit of a transition to go from writing for others to then using your own voice. Was that a clear path for you to make that transition?
It was, because I think when you write for yourself, you're writing, obviously you're writing your story. I'm not trying to figure out what your story is to try to write a song for you, which is it's not an easy thing to do. Record labels would send me artists all the time and say, we need a hit, but if I don't know your life and know where you're at, I mean, how do I marriage that, in just one day of working with you? So there's something about writing and singing. I know where my voice lies. I know how to write where it's right for my vocal. It's a whole different process of working on. It's almost like Rob Fusari is producing 8-bit karaoke, and it's like it is very much like two people that I'm kind of dealing with now, without sounding like schizo.
So which one are you more like? I was gonna say, are you more like 8-bit or you more like Rob?
I am like 8-bit, but 8-bit knows how to tap into Rob, and there are times Rob has to be present.
Okay.
But if I had my choice, it would just be 8-bit across the board.
So this look here, is this 8-bit's look? Because I've seen you in interviews and seen you out and about, and you didn't look like this. So you created this look to go along with 8-bit.
I don't, it's funny, and I've been asked that question before. I don't know if I created it. I think that it's been here, but there was a fear of being it. I always say I felt like Rob was the drag. That was the person in drag. He was dressing and being this business professional record producer, and it was safe. Things change, and I was always into high fashion. My mother was a cosmetologist. I was like the daughter she never had, so she would dress me.
So this has freed you.
Absolutely freed me
in some
a
ways.
major way.
Those diamonds are freeing. I'm sorry. I have to show the camera these diamonds. Look at a close-up of that hand. That is amazing.
I love the sparkly, shiny thing. Yeah. And don't forget those big jewels around the neck.
Right.
If that comes up missing, Rob. I want you to talk a little bit, though, about Karaoke, the group.
Yep.
Describe the sound.
The sound is there's so many ingredients into this pot of it's a musical collective. It's 80s because that's still my favorite decade for music. But it's future. It's EDM, very electronic, but it's almost, you know, it's meshing these worlds of Bowie and Robert Smith and The Cure. It's meshing a heavy dance drop, so it's very rave-esque as well. But it definitely harkens back to layers, like the songs and the feeling of the music has a darker layer to it. So it's not just, it's a pop song at the surface, but you listen again and again, and all of a sudden it takes on a different life. You know, even a song like Be Who You Are, which is the single, is initially it sounds like a pop song, but then you start listening to the lyric and you start feeling the music, and sometimes when we perform it, I do a slow version on the piano, and it takes on an entire different life.
Did your life inspire that song? And
you know,
what you were just describing, being able to be free now?
It did. You know, when I did it, I didn't realize it, how much it was really so true to what was going on, because I recorded it and I wrote it and I put it away. You know, I didn't think, maybe it's a little too pop for karaoke, and so I did the vocal. I'm like, all right, let me just sit on that. And maybe like 2-3 weeks later, I went back and I listened to it again, and for me, it took on a whole different life. And I'm like, wait a minute, you know. And then I started, you know, playing it for people, because I was like, why not check it out? And it just became this, like, this is really you. You know, and that's how it should be.
I want us to go back a little bit, and we talked, of course, in the intro to your associations with these big, huge megastars. You know, No, 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 the big hit from Destiny's Child, and of course, Lady Gaga. So, did you know back then, particularly when you were working with Destiny's Child, how big the song was going to be, how big Beyonce was going to become?
And I had no idea. I wish I could say I did. You know, it's funny because she was, I guess, 15, 16 when I was doing the vocal recording the vocal with her on No, No, No. And they had a vibe. And there was something that when she went in the booth, and don't get me wrong, the other girls are great too, but there was something that happened when she went into the booth. I'm like, you just stay in there a little longer, just because there's something, you know, there's something going on. Like, I didn't know, but there was something extra. Wow. When she went on that mic, and like, she really brought the song alive.
So when they're recording these songs, can you tell that you have a hit on your hands? Like, are there signs? What's that like?
No, I got to tell you, even I remember calling a friend after I'd finished Wild Wild West with Will Smith, and I said, yeah, I don't know about this one.
Thank goodness you were wrong.
Right, totally. I got even with Bootylicious, I'm like, I feel it's close, but
wow.
But I was like, I don't know if we nailed it. And sure enough, you just never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Okay, well, we have to talk about your next big star, Lady Gaga. I mean, she is amazing in her own right, but is it true that you discovered her, and how did that happen?
I did. A friend of mine introduced me to her, and I went to see her at a club in the Lower East Side called Shanae, and she took the stage, and I just knew, like, in seconds, like, I got like weak, you know, I got like that, like almost butterflies, and I invited her to my studio, and when she sat at the piano and just started playing one of her songs, and it was just like, for me, it was like watching history, because I'm like, this is history right now. I have not seen this before. My journey through all the years, I hadn't seen anything like this. It was the way she moved her body into the piano. It was the way her lyrics were a little bit reversed. You know, it was enough different, but enough familiar, where it just needed, you know, it needed someone like myself to come in and mold it. But the raw ingredients were there. It was raw, it was rock and roll, and it was just extra. Like, and it just floored me.
And you guys had a very close relationship, and even the look that you've developed here, I can see how you perhaps had influences on the look that she's known for. But this is what I want to get to. Last year, you did sue Gaga for $30 million. Can you tell us more about that and why you did?
You know, I really can't talk about it, you know, but all I could say is that, you know, it's a tricky business.
I imagine it has to be a painful experience.
You know what, for her, I'm not only saying for me, for her too. Like, I'm like, there's no bad blood. Like, it gets tricky. Like, You can imagine, and you know what? And I understand it more now. Now taking the artist side of it, you know, it's like there's so many people that come into the fold. There's so many people that expect, and you do your best to try to take care of everyone, remember everyone, and pull everyone on the journey. You know, for me, it wasn't about money. For me, it was about, I would love to share this with you, and I would love to stand on the side of the stage. It wasn't about being seen or heard. It was just about, because for myself, the best part of this Carrie Noki project for me is being able to share it with everyone, and possibly to take everyone on the journey. Because it's not me. This is not me. Like Carrie Noki it's an inspiration. It's inspiring people to live their dream. It's inspiring people to say, wow, maybe it's not too late in my life to start again. Because this is literally starting again. I had to go back to zero and start like any other artist. There's no, I can call, you know, so-and-so and get a record deal, or I could go here and play the Grammys. That doesn't exist in my world. Or nor, even if it did, I wouldn't want it to, because I want to go ground up. So the only thing I could say in regard to that is that, you know, I feel for her, I feel for artists in general, that this is part of it that is very tricky. It's a slippery slope.
And what are your feelings towards her now?
I'm a fan. If nothing else now, I'm a fan, and I'm happy being a fan. You know, for me, I could actually look at it now from afar and almost enjoy it more, because there's not like oh my God, is this gonna be a hit, or are they gonna use my song as the single, or like it takes all that pressure off, you know. And it's just, I could look at it and enjoy it like anyone else. It's almost like a movie. You go see a movie. I think if you made the movie, you're not gonna look at it the same way.
Right.
But you go see the movie, it had nothing to do with it. It's like, oh, that was a great movie, and then you let it go.
That's a nice glass half full way of looking
Yeah,
at
it's not like that. And when can we expect your album? We want to get the vibe from you as well.
Yeah, the singles up now. The video actually premieres today on Vibe for Be Who You Are. And then what we're going to do is, as opposed to an album, just every month and a half, we're going to release another single, you know, it's going to come quick.
Okay.
And a lot of different videos and a lot of different content.
All right, we'll look out for all those singles.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining
nice
us.
to meet
You too. Thank you.
Congratulations.
All right,
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
All right. You're watching Arise Entertainment 360.